Welcome back to another episode of the New News Podcast. We're doing another one of our 2024 player profiles, and this time we're talking about second-year phenom Jordan Walker, former top prospect in all of baseball. Exciting start to his big league career, kind of up and down, weird 2023 with some of the stuff going on with him defensively, sending him down a little bit. But man, the sky is the limit for Walker, and it continues to be so. Huge frame, exciting young hitter. There's questions about the defense long term, but he's a guy that he's batting seventh in the order right now, but he's a guy that has the potential to be a middle of the order bat, one of the face of the franchise at some point for the St. Louis Cardinals. And this is year two. This is the year that a lot of these guys that have this kind of potential end up popping off and becoming the superstar or borderline superstar type players that you need in this league or that make you in the top echelon of players. So Andrew, when you think of Jordan Walker, what are some of your thoughts coming into 2024 with him?
Yeah, I think Jordan Walker's one of the most underrated players on the entire roster. And he's one of the best players on the entire roster. I feel like his potential is completely overlooked. And a lot of his offensive prowess, his really good numbers that he put up after he got called back up for the second time last year.
Yeah.
I feel like that got overlooked because the team was playing so bad,
Yep.
and his defense was so bad. And I mean, his defense, I don't know. The other day at spring training, he lost the ball in the sun, which, I mean, happens to everybody. So
Yeah.
I don't really know how it looks right now. I guess we'll have to see what happens with that as spring training continues, just the eye test and just kind of seeing how he's tracking the ball. And I feel like it's going to be better, a lot closer to league average than we saw last year. And honestly, I'm not all that worried about it because I know eventually it will get to where it needs to be. But offensively is where we really should be focusing on.
Yep.
And right now he's projected to be one of the top 2 or 3 hitters on the Cardinals. I feel like he'll be batting third by the end of the season. And the sky's the limit, as you said. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be doing in 2024. The launch angle has seemingly been increased. He's building up even more exit velocity than we saw from last year, which is crazy, and just really excited to watch him play this year.
Yeah, he only got to play in 117 games and posted a 116 WRC plus. But after he, like you said, he got called up because he had a league high 60% ground ball rate after the month of April. So they sent him down. We're like, hey, you just if you're going to be a great bat in this lineup, you can't just always hit the ball into the ground. So they made some swing adjustments. He came back up. Ever since he came up in June, he's a 120 WRC plus. His last 50 games, it was 126. And then the day that Mason Wynn got called up, so from August 18th all the way through the end of the season, he posted a 311, 375, 496 slash line at the 138 WRC plus. So he just kept getting better and better and better offensively throughout the year. Is he a 140 WRC plus guy this year? That's probably like 90th percentile projections for him. That's like best case scenario. But what I expect of him is a 120 at minimum WRC plus guy, probably 125. And potentially the best hitter in the Cardinals lineup, like you said. I think Fangraphs has him projected the highest WRC plus on the team right now. The big question, though, around him obviously is defense, but kind of with the way the Cardinals constructed their roster this offseason, they can't really afford him to not be ready to play right field because then they have to move him to DH, and that probably means Brendan Donovan in left field and Nootbaar in right field. So it gets a little weird. So it's not terrible, but the roster construction, they are committed to him as a right fielder. And he's been working on the defense all offseason. Obviously, we'll have to see if it actually pans out, but I just don't see him being the worst right fielder in baseball again this year. I think he's closer to league average. Again, that was his first full season playing the outfield. Some guys naturally adjust positions well. He clearly didn't. He's put in the work this offseason. Yeah, I don't see a scenario. I guess we can get into worst case scenarios at some point, but it's hard to believe that he won't be the everyday right fielder this year. And like you said, there's a real chance that he moves his way into the middle of the lineup this year, which it'll be interesting to see who gets demoted in the lineup if that happens. Is that a Donovan or Nootbaar? Is that a Gorman? Is it Goldschmidt? Does Nolan Arenado get knocked down? Does Contreras get knocked down? Because you could argue that you can't even argue Contreras is the best hitter last year. And then if Walker is really good, it's weird if one of those guys hits below fifth. So we'll have to see what happens with that. How confident are you? If you had to scale 1 to 10, how confident are you that Jordan Walker's a top 2 hitter on this team this year?
Probably a 7 out of 10. I feel there's just so much offensive depth on this team, but I feel like Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras, and Gorman are all kind of like interchangeable. Like I can't really pick one over the other who I would want in like a runners in scoring position sort of situation. Maybe not Goldschmidt because his numbers weren't that great against with runners in scoring position last year, but like that's small sample sizes and whatnot. But um, I feel like those guys we kind of know what we're going to get. Maybe Gorman has a little bit higher potential, but Jordan Walker I feel like is going to be an all-star caliber bat, just like the four of those guys are right now. And I know we're getting into dangerous territory counting how many all-stars we're going to have, but I feel like Jordan Walker is going to be one of the top three on the team. I feel like that's pretty much that's one of the things I'm counting on. Top two, I feel like probably like 50 to 60% chance that ends up happening. So I'm fairly confident in that.
Yeah, I'll go like 52 because you, like you said, Gorman, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Newbar, Contreras, Donovan, any of those guys could be top two. So I think he's got the highest potential right now, but you just got a lot of good players on this roster. So what is because let's do best case and worst case scenario. This isn't expectations, this isn't what we're saying what we're gonna do, but like for me, the best case scenario of Jordan Walker this year is he's like a top 20 hitter in all of baseball. He has that like Fernando Tatis Jr., that like I'm not saying he's Ronald Acuna Jr., but like Julio Rodriguez, like those type of guys who take that big step forward and become national stars. He not at that level, but like in that type of vein where Bobby Witt maybe is a better example of it, where he takes that huge step forward in year two, where now he's like a legit star in this league. I think that's best case scenario with him. Average outfield defender, I don't see it being much better than that. But best case scenario is 30, 35 home runs. He's a close to 900 OPS guy, 135, 140 WRC plus. I think that's kind of what the Fangraphs 80th percentile projections were at too, which I felt good about. Again, that's like best case scenario. What do you think his best case scenario is?
I think for this year, the best case scenario is 2021 Tyler O'Neill without the defense. And he'll play.
Interesting.
So I feel like kind of profile is pretty similar, hitting a lot of home runs, good speed. I feel like they kind of profile similarly. Just hopefully Jordan Walker pans out more than Tyler O'Neill did.
I'm
But
pretty confident in that one.
yeah, I feel like that's going to end up happening as well. But just minus the Gold Glove, of course. If Jordan
Interesting.
Walker wins his Gold Glove, that would be shocking to me. But I feel like he could finish top 10, what was like eighth in MVP
Yeah,
vote.
eighth.
I feel like he could do that. Really excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I like that 2021 Tyler O'Neill without the glove. That's a really interesting comparison. And obviously, like you said, probably playing a little more games too. Why is that? Worst case scenario for me for Walker is that he has about the same bat as he did last year. So 116, 115 WRC plus. So he's a good hitter, wasn't one of the great. So he's probably hitting seven for the Cardinals, which hitting for seven for the Cardinals, if their line is at full strength, is a strong place to be. But he doesn't like emerge into the middle of the order. And then that his defense doesn't take a huge step forward. Again, I just really don't see him being that bad again. But if he's like a below or even like really below league average defender, and then he's giving that 116, 117, 115 WRC plus, then it's like, okay, you could be a negative WAR player at that point or close to zero WAR because your defense is just not really taking away from your profile, and the offense just isn't that stellar enough to make up for it. So I think that's kind of like worst case scenario for him. I don't see him tanking as like a terrible hitter. So I think the bat is at least safe to be pretty good. But obviously, if he's not really good, it's not disappointing if he's like not a 125 WRC plus guy, but I think it leaves some things to be desired because you just kind of think he can reach those heights. 115, I do feel like is slightly disappointing though, because he was at a 118 this last year. Again, what's worst case scenario for you with Walker?
Yeah, I feel like even that is not quite where Walker's floor is. Honestly, I feel like the worst case scenario for Jordan Walker this year is he just like gets hurt and
Oh yeah, true.
like
Injuries.
Lars Nootbaar kind of season where he just never really takes off, kind of like off and on the IL and just never really gets the momentum going to have like a full complete season. And we just like don't see him at his peak because he just hasn't been healthy for long enough. And I feel like that, like 2023 Lars Nootbaar is kind of what we're going to look at for where he's going to be like at his lowest. I don't see him like regressing, and I feel like improvement is kind of inevitable for him. because we just saw him get better throughout the course of last season, and I feel like there's no reason to see that trend stop. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, injuries are always like the problem because like someone tears their ACL, obviously it's
Yeah.
worse. But like I do think you bring a good point is if he like has those like just random 20, 30 games missed at a time where it's like, okay, he missed 10 games here, missed 5 games here, 20 games there. And it's like, okay, now he's only played 110 games again. That's a problem. Um, okay, but so we talked best case, potential worst case. What is your prediction? What do you think Jordan Walker is actually going to be in 2024?
Yeah, so my bold prediction for this year was that Jordan Walker would receive MVP votes, and that could be like top 10 MVP votes, like 10th place vote from one local writer, and that gets you MVP votes, which is still really, really good. I feel like he could be a top like 20 to 30 player in the National League. I feel like he'll end up receiving an all-star nod, hopefully. If he's that's very hit or miss, obviously with like first half performance, but I feel like that's more than likely for Jordan Walker. And I feel like we're just going to see him really blossom into a much more complete hitter. And defensively, he'll be around league average. It'll be kind of like what Nolan Gorman did from 2022 to 2023, from like way below league average to like around league average, maybe even a little bit above. And I'm just really high on Jordan Walker. I liked what he said at winter warm up a lot. And the adjustments that he made are all the adjustments that he should have been working on it throughout the offseason. So I feel like there's no reason to think that he won't get any better. And if he does get better, that's just like the sky's the limit. I'm all in on Jordan Walker. And I feel like by the end of the season, we'll see him. I don't know. It's tough because there's just so many good hitters in this lineup, but maybe batting we could go like New Bar leading off, Walker hitting second, and then Goldschmidt, Gorman, Arenado, Contreras. That's still like a really, really good top six, and probably one of the best lineups in baseball behind like the Braves and the Dodgers, maybe. But if we have a fully like formed Jordan Walker batting at the top of the order, it would be huge. And I feel like it's not what I expect, but I think it will happen.
Okay. Yeah, my prediction expectations are different. So what I'm going to predict for Jordan Walker in 2024 is similar, but maybe not totally on the same realms as you. So I'm going to say he's like a 127, 128 WRC plus guy. So he's among some of the better hitters, best hitters, not even better, best hitters in all of baseball. Eclipses like around or eclipses slightly 30 home runs, is like a mid to high 800s OPS guy. And he just is one of the best bats in the Cardinals lineup, probably maybe even the best bat. Definitely a top 2 bat. So if he's going to be producing like that, I do think he's like batting second or third in the lineup, maybe fifth in the lineup, depending on how they want to construct it. Like you said, I think his defense is around league average. And I think even if he's not the best player, maybe Arenado or Newbar or someone like that edges him out this year, he's clearly like the face and the future of the franchise. He already kind of is, but he's like established himself talent wise and expectations wise. So then 2025, you're walking in and everyone's looking at Jordan Walker as the best player in the Cardinals, especially at least as a hitter. And so, yeah, I do think this is the year he pops off. He's a great player. I'll say like potentially MVP votes too, but he'd finish like 18th or 19th. Not like, I'm not going to predict him to do top 10, even though I think he has the ability to do that. But I'm going to like lean a little bit more on like here's my expectations. And I think he's going to do a little bit more than that. So yeah, I think big things for Jordan Walker in 2024. Really excited about him. And we're really excited about a lot of these players. We've only scratched the surface on some of these player profiles. So we've got more coming. Jordan Walker today. And again, if you like the New News podcast, you like these player profiles, you like talking Cardinals baseball or other fun Cardinal related content, subscribe here, like this video, just let us know and support, comment below what you think on Jordan Walker's 2024 season, subscribe for more New News content, and we'll see you guys next time.